of Republicans are literally trying to ban knowledge of the existence of gay people. Following the success of banning critical race theory from public schools, even though it's of course never been taught in public schools, conservatives are now expanding into banning discussions about people who are heteronormative. Now, this is nicknamed the Don't Say Gay Bill. Now, it's actually called the Parental Rights in Education Bill, which, again, would sound innocuous. Oh, everybody likes parental rights. Everybody cares about parental rights, of course. But in reality, again, here's what it would do. It would require the implementation of procedures to reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children. In essence, it would ban teachers from encouraging talk about LGBTQ plus topics in the classroom that are, quote unquote, not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. Basically until they're like, what, 30? Until they're out of school, essentially. Like, I don't know, where do we draw the line? I don't know. Till they're out of school. Because they should never know about gay people or the existence of gay people. Let's shove them into the closet and just, kind of not let them exist. Great. Now, this would also allow parents to take legal action against school districts if they believe their fundamental rights as parents have been violated. These parents can apparently win monetary damages if they win these suits. Now, that's insane because what they're doing is, as I mentioned before, they're trying to ignore that gay people exist. And that's not just, I mean, that's really terrible, but again, not at all surprising because it comes from the same people who claim that racism doesn't exist or that climate change doesn't exist or the climate itself apparently is not a real thing. I don't know. Maybe they're hoping that, if they prevent people from talking about it, then just the gay will disappear. The gay, it's gone. It's gone. What do you don't talk about it? Out of sight, out of mind. There you go. I got news for you. That's not going to happen. Gay people exist. They have always existed. Transgender people, non-binaries, bisexual, you name it. And there's an important reason as to why. Human beings are all different. We don't fit into a binary. We are very complex creatures whose identities and orientations are on a spectrum. What this does, not teaching them about the existence of the spectrum, is actually more confusing to a child. And I know that's the argument the conservatives like to use. Oh, what's really confusing is the pronouns and all the gender identities and the neo-pronouns and all that stuff. Very, very confusing. No, it's only confusing to you, but not to everyone else. What's more confusing to a child is feeling a certain way and knowing that you're different and then being told that that difference is not only not normal, but also dangerous and bad and immoral and sinful, that there's something wrong with them and that, it's also a bad thing to refuse to give them the knowledge to understand who they are and why they might feel the way that they feel and to allow them to feel comfortable in their own skin. And so, look, those feelings, you can talk to anybody who's gay, trans, whatever, right? You could talk to them and you can ask them, do those feelings disappear if you bury them? If you just go into the closet? No, they don't. They fester under the surface until they break through. This is why people who are LGBTQIA+ have higher rates of mental problems, depression, suicide. When being a member of that group is not discussed, when they're made out to be wrong, taboo, weird, well, what's going to happen to the kids? They're going to get bullied, which of course makes things worse. In fact, there's this horrifying data from the Trevor Project. They found that 42% of LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide last year. And it's not because there's something wrong with them. Is there something wrong with the society? Is there something wrong because there are people that are trying to attack them for who they are? It's not just like being gay or trans or whatever like that that makes people want to end their lives. It is the social stigma, and it's the lack of support and the lack of clarity on these issues. You've got to have support from parents and school officials. And guess what? If the support were there, it would save lives. According to The Guardian, LGBTQ plus youth who have learned about LGBTQ plus issues or people in classrooms actually ended up having a 23% lower odds of reporting a suicide attempt within the last year. I mean, there it is. You acknowledge your existence and you give them support and you give them kindness and knowledge so that they can understand who they are and what they're going through. That's how you save lives. On the other end of the spectrum here, if Republicans pass this bill, well, they're going to be killing the children. Or they're highly damaging their mental health, far beyond the effects, the so-called effects, of course, keeping them home during the pandemic. Which, by the way, again, there are negative effects associated with that, with the social isolation, etc., because we are social creatures. But like you heard during the pandemic, all you heard is like, you got to get the kids back in school. You got to get them back to school. Listen, like the children are hurting. You're killing the children. They're hurting. Their mental health is in danger. It's dire. And look, I understand that there are some situations where absolutely kids do need that in-person learning, in-person guidance. And that, yes, it's not good for them to always be, kept at home and to do, class over Zoom, right? But it's funny that you stop caring about the children when they're not straight, cis, white children. And by the way, cis, a lot of people ask me in the comments, what's cisgender? What's that? What is that? Well, it's CIS gender, and basically it just means that you both identify and present as the same thing. For example, I identify as a male, and I present myself as a male. That's why I am a cisgendered male. And so it's actually quite simple. But now Florida says, well, if you're not cisgender or straight, then we don't care about you. We don't care about you. We don't care about your life. And in fact, we want to erase you from existence. Well, some days I feel like I wish I could erase Florida from existence. But I guess at the end of the day, we all can't be happy.